It started with a sound. A soft scraping like fingernails dragging slowly across metal. I live alone in a small one-bedroom apartment on the third floor of an old building. The walls are thin, and I'm used to hearing my neighbors through the vents' arguments, laughter, even coughing. But this was different. It was late past 1 a.m. I had been trying to sleep, tossing under the weak hum of my ceiling fan when the sound began. At first, I thought it was a rat, or maybe something shifting in the ductwork. But the noise was steady, deliberate. It's like someone dragging themselves forward. I got out of bed and pressed my ear to the vent in the wall above my dresser. It stopped immediately. The next night it came back. Same time, same slow dragging. I sat up in bed, heart racing. This time I didn't go near the vent. I just stared at it, frozen. After maybe 2 minutes, I heard something that made my skin crawl. Breathing. Soft, shallow breaths, like someone trying not to be heard. I didn't sleep that night. The following day I told my landlord, but he brushed it off. These old buildings make all kinds of weird noises, he said. It could be a bird or something got in. He promised to check the vents, but I knew he wouldn't. He never fixed anything unless it was leaking or broken. That night I shoved a towel into the vent opening. It made me feel a little better. I left the bathroom light on and kept it heavy. Flashlight beside me in bed. At 1:12 a.m., I woke up. The towel had fallen onto the floor. I know I shoved it in tightly. I used a screwdriver to really pack it in, but there it was, lying just beneath the vent. The sound was back. Drag, pause. Drag, then breathing. I was shaking. I whispered, "Hello?" It's like an idiot. Something moved. I swear I heard someone shift inside the wall. The drywall made a slight thump, like an elbow brushing it from the inside. I didn't go back to sleep. The next morning I called the police. I felt embarrassed explaining it, how I thought someone might be crawling through the air vents. The dispatcher said someone would come by. A young officer showed up around noon. He was polite, looked around, shined a flashlight into the vent, but didn't see anything. You'd hear more banging if someone was really in there, he said. These ducts aren't even big enough to crawl through. But that was the thing. They were. My apartment used to be part of a larger unit that was split up years ago, and the vents are wide easily 2 feet across. I've seen cats climb through tighter spaces. That night, I didn't sleep in my bed. I sat on the couch with a baseball bat, my phone ready to record. Just after 1 a.m., the noise started. But this time it came from a different vent one near the kitchen. I turned on the recording, walked slowly over, and stood beneath it. There was silence for a moment. Then, a whisper. I couldn't make out the words, but someone was whispering directly into the vent. I froze. The voice was low, male, raspy. I ran out of the apartment and spent the rest of the night in my car. In the morning, I played the recording back. I could hear the dragging sound, then the breathing, and finally the whisper. But the words weren't clear. It sounded like ... watching ... always beneath. I showed the recording to my landlord. He looked nervous for the first time. He didn't say much, just promised again to get someone to look at it. I didn't trust him. I booked a hotel for the week. While I was gone, I asked a friend, "Who does HVAC work to check the vents?" He called me 2 days later. "You're not going to believe this," he said. "Someone's been living in the walls." He found scraps of food, old blankets, a flashlight, and a small notebook wedged behind the duct, just past my bedroom vent. My friend said whoever it was had been crawling in from the basement, using the maintenance tunnels and old ducts. The guy built himself a whole little nest in there. I gave the notebook to the police, but they never found the person. I moved out the next week. I still don't sleep well. I can't stand silence. I leave music playing at night and block every vent in every place I live. Even now, a year later, sometimes I wake up at 1:12 a.m. and feel like someone's watching me from the walls. And the worst part, the last page of the notebook had my name in it, my full name, and my apartment number. I was driving back home from visiting my sister in Oregon. It was a long, lonely trip, nearly 12 hours of highway, and nothing but trees, sky, and the occasional truck. Around 2 a.m., somewhere in Northern California, I realized I couldn't keep my eyes open any longer. I hadn't seen another car in over an hour, and my body felt like it was buzzing with exhaustion. Then I saw a blue sign, Rest Area 1 mile. I pulled in. It was a small stop. Just 2 dim streetlights, 3 vending machines, a set of bathrooms, and a half circle of parking spaces. Not a soul in sight. It felt like the world had gone empty. I parked close to the bathroom building and killed the engine. The silence hit immediately. No wind, no insects, just the occasional creak of the cooling engine. I got out to stretch and use the restroom. The air was damp and cold, and the only sounds were my own footsteps on the cracked pavement. The bathroom building was concrete, a faded green color, with one of those flickering yellow lights above the door. I hesitated before going in. Something about it felt ... off, like it had been forgotten. Or worse, remembered by the wrong kind of people. Inside, the fluorescent light buzzed overhead. It smelled like mildew and old urine, 2 stalls, 1 sink. The mirror above it was cracked. I went into the last stall, shut the door, and sat. As soon as I did, I heard something. A footstep. Just one. Then silence. I waited. Nothing. I told myself it was probably the building creaking. Or maybe my own nerves. I finished up, opened the stall door, and froze. The bathroom door was closed. I was sure I had left it open when I came in. I always do that in sketchy places. It makes me feel like I can run if I need to. But now it was shut, gently, not slammed. Quietly, I moved to the sink and turned on the water, trying to act normal. The mirror only showed part of the room because of the crack, but in the corner of the glass, I saw something that made my stomach drop. A shoe, black, muddy, facing toward the back wall, near the trash can. I didn't hear anyone come in. I didn't hear breathing. But someone was there. I turned off the faucet slowly and grabbed my keys from my pocket. I didn't dry my hands. I didn't turn around. I walked to the door as casually as I could and opened it. Nothing stopped me. No one moved. I stepped out. Once. I was clear. I ran to my car, heart hammering in my chest. I got in, locked the doors, and started the engine. As I was throwing the car into reverse, I glanced at the rearview mirror and saw him. A man, standing just outside the bathroom. He hadn't come out when I left. He must have been watching through the crack in the stall, waiting. He didn't chase me. He didn't move. He just stared. I hit the gas and sped out of the lot. I didn't stop until I hit the next town, nearly an hour later. I parked in a well-lit gas station and sat there for a long time, trying to convince myself I was overreacting. Maybe he was just another traveler. Maybe he was sleeping in the stall and I woke him up. But something didn't sit right. I went inside the gas station and told the clerk what happened. He got really quiet and asked, "Was it the rest stop near?" "Mile marker 214. I said, "Yeah." He looked at me, dead serious. "Don't ever stop there again." He wouldn't say why. Just shook his head and walked away. When I got home the next day, I couldn't stop thinking about the man's face, rather the lack of expression on it. Wasn't surprised or angry or confused. He looked ... patient, like he'd been. Waiting a week later, curiosity got the better of me. I searched for anything I could find about that rest stop. After digging through old forums and news clippings, I found a post from 3 years ago. A woman had gone missing on that same stretch of highway. Her car was found at the mile marker 214 rest stop. Doors unlocked, purse still inside, signs of struggle. She was never found. The thread had a few comments. It caught my eye. My brother works highway maintenance. Said he once found the same truck parked there 3 nights in a row. Driver never got out. Window cracked, like he was watching. Called CHP, but the truck was always gone when they arrived. I haven't driven that route again since, but I think about it. It's about what would have happened if I had stayed a few minutes longer. If I hadn't seen that shoe in the mirror. If I hadn't trusted my gut. I still don't know what he wanted, and that's the part that keeps me up at night. I used to work nights at a roadside motel just off I-70 in Colorado. Nothing fancy, 12 rooms, one soda machine, and a small front office with a desk, a TV, and a buzzer to unlock the door. Most of the guests were truckers, couples passing through, or the occasional sketchy guy who paid in cash and didn't want a receipt. It was boring, till the night I checked someone into room 209. It was around 11:30 p.m. A man walked in, late 40s. Thin glasses, average looking. He wore a plain gray hoodie and jeans. There was nothing memorable about him. That's what I remember most. He looked like no one. He asked for a room. I gave him the key to 209. He didn't smile, didn't ask any questions, just took the key, turned around, and left. Never said his name. About 20 minutes later, the phone rang. I answered. No one spoke on the other end, just silence. I said hello. Twice, then hung up. 10 minutes later, it rang again. Still silence. This time, I didn't hang up right away. I listened. I could hear something faint, like someone breathing slowly, steadily. It didn't sound like a bad connection. It sounded intentional. I hung up again. I checked the caller ID. It was from room 209. I figured maybe the guy was drunk or trying to mess with me. Either way, I wasn't in the mood. I dialed the room. He didn't answer. A few minutes later, I decided to go knock on the door. Motel policy says you don't bother guests late at night unless there's a complaint, but something about those calls, it made my stomach feel wrong. Room 209 was on the second floor at the far end. When I got there, I saw the door was open a crack. Not all the way, just barely, like someone forgot to latch it. I knocked softly. No answer. I knocked again and pushed the door open just enough to see inside. The lights were off. The air smelled strange, like damp carpet, and something sharp, like bleach or metal. Double quotes, sir? Everything okay? Nothing. I stepped in and turned on the light. The room was empty, bed untouched. No toothbrush on the sink. Nothing, just the TV on a static channel and the bathroom door half open. I looked in the bathroom, empty. Shower curtain pulled back, sink dry. Mirror fogged, like someone had breathed on it. I checked the window. Locked from the inside, I left the room and walked back to the office fast. I was starting to feel paranoid. I replayed the interaction in my head. Had I actually seen him go into 209? Or had I assumed he had? He took the key and walked off. All I saw. I checked the security monitor for the hallway. The feed was black. I rebooted the system, waited and rewound the footage to when he would have walked by. I found myself sitting there alone in the office, watching the hallway at 11:37 p.m. No one walked down it. Not him, not anyone. I checked the footage from the front desk camera, showed me handing him the key, turned, walked out of frame, and never showed up on the hallway cam at this point. I was sweating. I picked up the phone and called the local sheriff's number. While it rang, I looked down at the check-in log. I had written room 209, time 11:32, and under name. It was blank. The deputy said he'd send someone out to check. But it could take a while. About 15 minutes after the call, the phone rang again, room 290. I didn't answer, just stared at it. It rang 7 times, then stopped. No one came in or out of that room for the rest of the night. I watched the hallway cam until dawn. Nothing. When the deputy arrived around 6:30 a.m., I walked him to room 209. I unlocked it in front of him. Still empty. Still no signs anyone had been there. He looked around, made a few notes, and left. Maybe I had a prank caller or was just tired. He didn't seem too concerned. I never saw the man again. I talked to my manager that morning and asked her to check the key log. Each room has an electronic chip in the key fob that registers when the door opens. Room 209's log showed no entries for that night. The door was never unlocked, but I gave him the key. I spoke to him. I remembered his face, even if it was nothing special. Later, I went back and reviewed the security footage again. At 11:32 p.m., I saw myself hand the key across the desk. But if I looked closely, my hand stopped short. like I was holding it in the air, like I was talking to someone who wasn't there. I quit that job a few weeks later. Sometimes I still dream about room 209. In the dream, I'm standing outside the door, hearing the phone ring from inside. But when I open the door, there's nothing but a long, dark hallway stretching back forever, and I swear I can still hear someone breathing.